Okay, everybody, we've come to the end of what I think was an extremely exciting and very thought-provoking day, including the last presentation by Heidi Williams. Heidi has a unique distinction in that she's the first economist to speak at the Koch Institute Symposia in 15 years. Probably the first... the first non-life scientist, non-engineer, I think, as well. And she just made, I think, a series of really important points that affect the way we think about how we're going to make progress, not necessarily at the research bench, but progress in implementing some of our new insights and new approaches to impact patient lives. And I think she was yet another individual who told Doug Lowy how to spend his money. So. But throughout the day, I think there were lots of really important messages that were delivered, and I want to thank all of the speakers for their contributions. Again, I want to thank our sponsors who provided financial support for the meeting, and all the individuals who helped organize the meeting, including notably Nancy Hopkins and Ed Skolnick. And I think that I took away a lot of messages. Interestingly, many of the people who spoke to you cut their teeth on hardcore cancer science. And Ed Skolnick made this point, and he was one of the first who he cloned the first RAS gene, if you didn't know that already. And he and many others in that era, and I'll put myself in that category, believed that figuring out how cancers arise from normal cells, and particularly through the genetic changes that occur, will one day teach us better ways to treat cancer. And frankly speaking, that is true. And that science has made an impact in the clinic and continues to make an impact in the clinic. And although many of the speakers emphasized the importance of shifting our thinking away from those treatments, none of them thought, I don't believe, none of them thought that that was work not worth doing. And indeed that work shouldn't continue, because it clearly must continue. We know that many patients will arrive in cancer clinics over the next years and decades, and they will need treatments, and they will need better treatments. And so those of you who are working on your understanding of cancer pathogenesis and how to use that information to treat the disease, keep at it, because it's important too. But everybody here today said we also have to think about shifting the curve, as I said before. Shifting the curve to think about incidence of cancer. Shifting the curve to think about where we intervene in the disease process in the clinic. Because by doing those things, we really can change the numbers of patients who will require those treatments, which are very challenging and very expensive. And so I hope you heard that loud and clear. Both things are important, but we need to begin to emphasize more strongly the latter categories. There are challenges there, and some of those were illustrated by the comments that you heard. There are challenges in our still incomplete understanding of disease evolution. We can't tell the difference today between the indolent lesions and the aggressive lesions based on simple tests. We need to define better tests, more accurate tests, more predictive tests. But fortunately, it is my opinion, and you heard examples of this today, that the new technologies that are being developed, including here at MIT and around the world, will allow us to do that one day. We will be able to shift the curve. We will be able to find lesions at earlier stages, define their prognosis for progression, and figure out which patients to treat more aggressively and which we can leave alone. We'll be able to predict more accurately an individual's cancer risk based on the various alleles that they carry, as David Hunter talked about. We'll be able to focus our attention on those individuals that require the most attention. And we will figure out ways to intercept in the disease process using methods that are safer and effective, and therefore prevent the development of life-threatening malignancies and allow individuals to live out their normal lifespan without developing or dying from cancer. So for those of you who are young and thinking about your careers, think about Bert Vogelstein's challenge. He described Planet B. I love that image. where we can do everything we need to do. And he put the challenge out there that perhaps in 50 years we could lower the incidence of cancer, the deaths due to cancer, by 75%. I think we could do that. I think we'd have to try hard and start trying harder now, but I think we could do that, and that would be a major, major accomplishment. We could potentially do even more. But to do that will require a focus of attention, it will require a focus of resources, and it will require, I think, a change in attitude. And I said this in the panel, and I like this comment that Barry Kramer made. We have to shift our thinking away from who the heroes are. It's true that the doctor who cures the disease is viewed as a hero. And it's probably true that the scientist who provided the information that led to that cure is viewed as a hero. But so too can the individuals be who figure out the best ways of preventing the disease from ever occurring. And if you don't believe me, just think about Jonas Salk. He's a hero because he prevented an otherwise devastating disease. So with that, I want to close, and again, thank you for being here. We'll look forward to seeing you next June 2017 for the Koch Institute's 16th annual symposium. Thanks very much.